This conference will now be recorded.
Hi guys, good evening. This is Suresh here.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening all. Okay, so guys, session now we'll be now discussing on the employee hiring process. The standard SuccessFactors employee central hiring process is what we'll be now starting to look towards. So let me start with that. Just a moment. Let me share my screen. Okay. So to start with the employee hiring process, guys. So under admin center, we can navigate to the admin center. Here in this admin center, we have a place under update user information. The second part, manage employees, update user information. You have this add new employee as action. So from here, we can start going for the employee hiring action. So either you can click on it, or even if you search for the same action here on the top search area, add new employee, you'll be able to find add new employee. So when we go for this add new employee, in SuccessFactors Employee Central, so this is a place where each and every minute detail of employee information at the stage of hiring, what all employee will be giving us, all that can be recorded in the system. So the entire information what we load here will be basically divided into 4 categories, guys. It's the identity, personal information, job information, and compensation information. Total 4 areas. Okay, so these 4 categories of information will serve on the people profile. What we have, almost around 80% of the information what we see on the people profile will all be covered with these all the 4 categories of information. Apart from these 4 categories, there will be few more portlets which will be appearing on the people profile only once you hire an employee. At the stage of hiring, those sections doesn't come, like the employee education details, employee certifications, his previous employment details. Such kind of background portlets will not appear in the hiring process. Once the employee got hired, later on the people profile, we can maintain them. Okay, so now let us go through all of these and see what actually will be captured at the employee hiring process. The first one is the hire date or the date of joining. There's 1 second. Somebody just have activated some fields here. Just a second. So these termination date and termination reason should not come here. There is some issue in the permissions. Just give me a second, please. Yeah, it's basically I opened the employee with fixed employment. So I just started with add new with fixed employment. That is where we find out we do it for contract employees with a fixed contract. When you hire, when you have the start date and the end date and all. So that's why those screens have come up. That's my mistake. So add new employee. This is the one that we are required to go, where it starts with the hire date, where the hire date can be, you can hire an employee with today's date, even with the previous historic dates, and even if you want to hire an employee with a future date, anything can be done. So today we are on 2nd of March. If you want to hire an employee with effective 1st of February, you can still do it. Or if you want to hire with the 15th of March, future dated, even that we can do it definitely. Okay, and so now here we can have the company. So most of the cases we'll have only one company for which company are implementing SuccessFactors. Only that company will be in the drop down. But if an organization is a multinational, they have their offices in multiple parts of the globe. Same like the way I take the example of Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola India, Coca-Cola US, Australia, different countries they have. So all the group companies will be listed. So when you are hiring an employee, against which company, against which legal entity you are hiring is the question. So in this system, best run is taken as the company name. Bestron as the company name, Bestron Canada, Bestron China, Bestron Colombia, like this. We have multiple. Bestron company where they are mentioned, it is basically US. So US is represented as Bestron company simply, which is nothing but Bestron US. So like this, all these various countries related, it is maintained here, and we can do the hiring process. So now if I want to hire against the Indian business, I select that, and then now what is happening here is the hiring event. We call it as events. All these are the employee events. Hiring is an event. Next, promotion is an event. Transfer is an event. Separation of the company is also an employee event. So in that, for hiring event, what kind of a hiring you are doing is the event reasons we have. So is that a new hire? New hire means it's a completely a new position that has been created in the system and we are hiring for that, or it is acquired employee. Acquired employee means your company has acquired some other company. So your company is having say 1,000 employees. Now if your company has acquired another company having 200 employees, now all that 200 employees database is also going to be merged into your master database. But when we record that 200 employees records in your system, we don't maintain the data of joining as today's date. If they have been already in that company from last 10 years, we'll keep the date of joining as the 10 years back and we'll record their data into the system. So then in that case, we can make it as acquired employee. It's not a new joinee, but this record is coming into the database for the first time as an acquired employee, like this. Okay, and we can have international transfer between the group companies if there are transfers of the employees, internal international transfer, like this. The different reasons can be there, which is not standard success factors delivered, guys. We are required to check with the customer. In your company, what kinds of hirings are normally expected? The two main things is new hire, replacement hire. New hire and replacement hire are the two common things that we see in the customer systems. New hire is if it's a new position altogether created, company is expanding and the new position got created. For that, if you are hiring, it's new hire. Replacement hire means the current, there is already a position in which the currently serving person is resigning. So replacing him, we are hiring one more new person. That replacement hire and new hire are the two common things. Apart from that, or whatever others should be in the drop down is the customer's choice. That is a way. So now I'll just keep it as a new hire, and then here we can record the employee's first name, last name, all these name details. So whichever fields are required, which are not required and all, we can choose it in the business configuration. We go to the personal information portal and there we can remove the unwanted fields. Okay, so first name and last name are the minimum required. Other things are what success factor has given. If you want to use, okay, else we can remove them. Okay, so now here I just want to record it as, so first name as some test user. Let me just keep it as test user simply. Let me not waste huge time here. So test user. Okay. Similarly, if you want to have some salutation, first name, this Mr., Mrs., all that, we can do it. So there is some business rule written in the background to automate some middle name. That's why it is just coming as sample. I'm just removing this. So first name, last name, and salutation are important here, followed by the date of birth. So you can take the date of birth of the candidate, and if you want to have any validations on the age of the candidate, here we can actually configure them. So we'll also see that. I guess I have already kept some validation here. I'll just show you. Yeah, you see this is an error message. Minimum age of employment is 18 years. So I'm hiring an employee with 2011 as the date of birth. That means he's just 10 years old. So we can't hire him like that. So minimum age of employment kind of validations, if you want to have, we can make them. So when I'm selecting some year in 1980s and all, it's not throwing me any error this way. So this is something that we can achieve through business rules and validations. We'll even see that in our down the line sessions. Country of birth, if I want to make India itself here, I can just to select that. And person ID here is nothing but the employee ID, guys, where either we can enter some ID or else we can have it auto generated, where 99% every customer will expect that to be auto generated. They can't every time remember what is the last employee number they are given and all. Nobody will like it. They will have automation required. So for that, in the further down the line, next topics, we will see how to have the number auto generation. Either they want to have a common sequence across the group companies, or they want to have separate employee sequence numbers. Like in India business, one sequence number, in US business, a different sequence number, like that, or a department wise or a location wise, on any parameter they want to have a different sequence number sequence, we can configure that using the same business rules again. So we'll see that in the further sessions. But in this system already there is some employee number generation automatically happening. So I'll just leave this blank, but finally we'll see that the system is generating some number for this record. And then here comes the national ID. So national ID is where, so if you're hiring an employee in India, and if he's Indian, here for the country of India, now the national ID is the PAN and the Aadhaar numbers come like this. You can choose that. And we know that this is basically because of the country specific succession data model, as I've shown you. And when I choose this permanent account number, immediately the display format, whatever we saw in the succession country specific succession data model, against the selected card type, the watermark image, the watermark kind of background, this national ID format will be given, alphabetical, numerical, whatever should be entered. So the Indian PAN card number follows the first 5 characters as alphabets, next 4 as numericals, and again last one as alphabet. So in that format, let me just fill in something. Something like this. So this is where it is taking the national ID of this employee, and here is primary is something that will be required to maintain if you are having only one record. So this should be the primary, obviously. If you are maintaining multiple guys, so if I'm going to maintain both Aadhaar and PAN number, so if I'm going to maintain Aadhaar also, it's a 12-digit numerical number. Right. So I just maintained a number where among these two, which is primary, I have to select. If we keep both as primary and if you try to save also, system will throw you error. So if you keep both as non-primary also, it will throw error. Minimum 1, maximum 1. Primary is minimum 1, maximum 1. That is the way we are required to maintain. And this custom field and attachment fields are what we saw in our yesterday's session by adding them fields customly. So those are that coming up here. So with this, the first part, the identity part is done. So identity part is basically concentrating on the employee's name, first name, last name, employee's national ID, employee's personal employee number, and in which company we are hiring him, his date of joining, like these basic fields, which are basically giving the minimum identity of the employee, are covered here. So now when we continue, guys, so with this, the first part will be done, and the second part, personal information block, will be opened up in an editable mode. So now system is showing you the personal information part. But when you scroll up, you will see here the identity part, which is the identity area. Yes, no, we filled in, which got turned into read-only mode, and it shows the tick mark against that, saying this category has been filled in. Where if you want to still make any changes, you still have this edit icon on the extreme right here, guys. On the extreme right, you have the edit icon. You can just click on it and you can still again get it into editable mode and make the necessary changes again. Okay, this is a way. And then here under personal information, these are the details where you can fill in the employee gender, marital status, nationality, all these. So I'm just filling few fields, not all. Gender, marital status, nationality, preferred language. So this is all the standard drop-down values that are served by SuccessFactors in any customer system. And under the concept of pick list, we'll see it. Where are all these actually coming from? So if I want to maintain something, I can maintain like this. Okay. And during the hiring of the employee, if you want to maintain any scanned copies of the employee date of birth document kind of, here you can upload it, guys. So the national ID related, against each and every national ID, there itself you have it. And here, this is a place where you can even upload the employee date of birth kind of a document, scan copies. And global information, this is the country specific personal information fields that we discussed in the country specific succession data model. So majority, it's until if and only if a customer is expecting to store any information, only they use it, else we can just skip this. Global information is not mandatory. This personal information level fields are what you cannot delete. You are required to fill these fields and go forward. Whereas the global information block of fields, you can even delete it, skip it completely. Okay, even after the employee hiring has been done, later on if you want to add also, you can still add it. At the employee hiring level, we can skip it. So under personal information, except these initial 6 to 7 fields, all other areas will be completely optional. So that are not mandatory that you are required to fill it now only. Even after the employee's record has been created in the system, later on also you can come and update. So those are like employee email IDs, phone numbers, address details, dependent details, all such things like this. The employee email address. So here there is some business rule that has been written just for some testing purpose to auto populate the email ID. Okay, where it is given a logic like employee first name at the rate the company.sap.com, company name as bestrun.sap.com. Because we have given the employee first name as test, that has come up here, test at the rate of bestrun.sap.com. It's a rule written to automatically generate an email ID concatenated with the employee first name kind of, which will not definitely work every time, because with the same first name there can be multiple employees. This is just a testing scenario to write some business rule. Okay, so here if you want to maintain email IDs, multiple types of email IDs can be maintained, guys. Business email ID, personal email ID, or any other email IDs. Even here, if you're trying to maintain multiple records, only one should be primary. Minimum one and maximum one should be primary. Same applies to even the phone numbers. You can have different numbers: business number, employee cell number, home number, fax, all this. And even this list, if you want to enhance, if you want to remove this other as an option, fax as an option, if you want to remove it, or if you want to add one more as company provided mobile, like that, if you want to add anything, you can even add it also. Okay, and here whatever are the mandatory fields, we can fill them and they take it forward, or else you can delete this record entirely. As of now, if you don't want to maintain phone numbers at all, later on if you want to take care, delete and skip it. And here we have address details. Address details also types of addresses: home address, mailing address, benefits, like this. Different types are given by standard success factors. But if you want to again make any changes on this, so common requirement that we see with any customer is they want to keep it as one as the home country, one as the job country related if it is Middle East customers and all, because in Middle East we see most of the people expats working from different parts of the globe in Middle East countries we see. So they normally maintain two types of addresses: home country address and the host country address. They try to maintain like that, or else communication address, permanent address, temporary address, like this. Different terminologies different companies come up with. Okay, and you can even maintain multiple addresses, guys. Not only one. Home address is one, add address and add one more as mailing address, one more. So you can keep on adding any number of addresses types. There is no limit. Even phone numbers, email IDs, address types, anything, there is no limit. You can keep on adding any number of. So even this is country specific, as India related fields are coming now here, district and all. If I change the country to say United States, the US specific country fields will be reloaded now onto the screen, where we get the county field this time. Here it is, the county field. Okay, that is the way. And then here we have primary emergency contacts. So in case of any issues for you, in case of any emergency created to you, to whom we should be first able to contact. Dependents and emergency contacts are different, guys. Say example, you're an Indian working in somewhere in UAE or Middle East, somewhere, some other country if you're working in. Okay, so for anything emergency, they can't contact you. So somewhere, so they can't contact you who are in India. Within the same country of UAE, Qatar, wherever the employee is working in, there if any other local friends or roommates, somebody kind of, that will be the emergency contacts we'll see. Okay, so here in the relationship, you can even have emergency contact level other can be used. So like the employee roommates kind of, any local friends kind of we can have. Okay, there are some customers who will even ask us to add one more type as local contact, like that. So this is the way how we can maintain emergency contact details. And then the main dependents. Here you have the dependents, where the dependent detailed information, their first name, last name, their relationship with you. So in the dependence level, the relationships will be having more drop down values, which will be serving all the countries. So brother, child, domestic partner, domestic spouse, like this, registered partner, various things. So it's not only specific to one country we are required to look at. So based on the relationship statuses that are followed across different countries, it's a global drop down that comes up. And any relationship certificate, like with your spouse, the marriage certificate kind of, if you want to upload, even that is there, which are obviously the optional documents. So this way we can maintain the dependent details. So these are all that are covered basically under the personal information category. Sorry, from here, these are all the personal information category. Only the initial 5-6 fields are where you don't have a delete icon, but for rest of all the things you have an option to delete, skip it, and hide it at maintain it at a later phase once the employee record got updated, record got created. Either you as a HR can fill it, or you can directly give the employee access to fill their own details, their email IDs, address details, and all. We can ask the employees to themselves fill also. Okay, that is a way. And now when we continue, it takes us into the third area, which is a job information, guys. So the first two areas what we saw, this is all with respect to the employees information. That is basically the first two places is totally the employee information, what we speak about the employee's own information. As in the ECHR structure we discussed it, it is his personal information in the first two categories what we saw. Whereas now in the third and the fourth category, it is employment specific. That is, in this company, in which business unit, in which division, in which department location he is working, in which position he is going to be hired in, all this, his job details, who is his supervisor, what is his pay grade, regular or temporary job, is that a full-time or a part-time job, like this, various things are there. So these are all the things that are specific to the employee, his employment in this company. Previous things, all what you saw, his national IDs, his first name, last name, his personal details, contact details, dependent details, everything is employee specific information. But this is organizational related information. Okay, so we have a lot of things like this. In this regard, then advantages. So this is a job information part, guys, the third area. And this, as I previously also highlighted at one point of time, job information is one important portlet that will have huge information. It will have almost minimum 40 fields in any customer system. Minimum 40 fields, and based on the customer requirements, up to 60-70 fields also, it will be a biggest portlet. So in this, if you keep scrolling down, these many fields are there, all these. You are required to fill in all these fields. So in this, 50% of the fields we can get them automated by position level. So if you're going to hire this current person as an analyst in the company, select that analyst as a position. Immediately, lot of things based on the position that you selected, they will be auto-populated. Now you see this business unit, division, department, location, all this. The supervisor of this position of this person, everything got auto-populated. This is because in the system, when we actually created this position called analyst, we define everything, guys. That is what the future concept we see under the name of position management. In the position management, whenever I create a new position, say analyst as a position got created, it's just not a empty name. I don't give it. I maintain a lot of details against that position. For which location is this position created? For which department? For under this position reports to which parent level position? Like this, various details we keep it configured in the position management level. So when you are hiring an employee against this position, obviously the employee will inherit all that attributes. So what division, for which department this position is created, if you hire somebody in that position, obviously that employee is going to work in the department. So that way, all the position related attributes will be automatically inherited into the employee record level. Majority of the fields will be covered here. On top of it, any other fields you see that are still pending, we are required to fill in, and we'll continue with the hiring process. Okay, so that is the way we have the position management will be of a very great importance here, where that will have its advantages when seen. Position management is specifically not a mandatory thing to be implemented with Employee Central. It is optional thing where 90% every customer will definitely implement position management. So 90% all these customers will have this automation seen in the real time. Okay, but one point to be noted, position management is not a mandatory setup to be done in Employee Central. There are customers who implement Employee Central with position management or without position management also. Without position management means they don't have this concept of positions. Okay, so it's just a job title for them. Manager, assistant manager, analyst, CEO, everything is just a job. Okay, they don't have this list of positions in their company which are filled in, which are vacant. They don't have the tracking and all. So when this position got created, so in last 10 years, how many people served in this position? They don't have any tracking. It's just a job title I offer you. There are customers in the market who run their business without a concept called position. It's just a job title for them. So for that, even without employees and without position management also, Employee Central can be implemented. Okay, that is just to give you guys an idea. And then I'm just concentrating on the mandatory fields here. So this is the time related part where whenever you're hiring an employee, so what is the working pattern of the employee, and what is the set of leaves that an employee will be eligible for. So in that terms, we'll be filling these fields. So at this part, you don't understand these fields. When we are discussing the time of concept, we'll come back and see. Holiday calendar, employee work schedule, like this, few things will be there, which we'll be discussing at that point. And under job information, one more thing is employment details. That is, this is the area where different kinds of date fields will be stored, guys. Employee date of hiring, first date worked in the company, original start date, seniority start date, like this, different date fields, and some employee shares. If you are going to give him the shares in the company, yes or no. If you are going to give him, what is the initial first for the first time, how many shares you're going to grant him, initial stock grant, like this, we can enter some details. So these date fields, it will not be applicable for every customer. So few customers require, many of the customers doesn't require. In Middle East countries, these are required, guys. For example, there is a company in Qatar. If they have issued a visa to one employee in India, he is traveling to Qatar. He landed in Qatar on 1st of March, but he is reporting to work on 5th of March. He's reporting to work on 5th of March, but he's landed in the country on 1st of March. They are required to even capture that dates. So they'll ask us to relabel this as first arrival date in the company. So they are required to record it on their visa. When this person landed in this country, they are required to even record that. So right from the moment he has landed on this company's visa, this company is responsible for that candidate's financials or anything. So that way, it's very important in these Middle East countries and all. They are required to capture multiple things. The actual hire date is as per the records from which date we are going to pay him. Okay, well, actual date he has landed in the country, and from which date he started working. So first 15 days might be his training period. He's actually deployed into the work projects after 15 days. So if they want to even capture that. So like this, they want to capture different fields. This employment details as an area will be useful. So there is a mandatory field. Let me just copy paste this. And under this, we also have job relationships. Job relationships is in the job information as a portlet. You will have the immediate reporting manager, that is supervisor, guys. The immediate reporting manager or the line manager or supervisor, any terminology we call, this is the immediate reporting manager. We have it here. Only manager will be under job information portlet, whereas here under job relationships portlet, we have other relationships like HR manager of this employee, matrix manager, the dotted reporting manager, custom manager, additional manager. Like this, we can have up to around 9 relationships that can be used here, guys. Second manager, different things. Against one employee level, you can have up to 9 different relationships that can be actually configured in the system. All these. Okay. So HR is common, that will be required in any company, employees manager and employee HR. Other things are optional. If they want to use, they can tag it. They just have to add one more record and they can add those additional relationships also. And one last thing under job information category is work permit information. So if this new employee whom you are hiring into the company, what all visas, if he has any work permits of other countries, work visas of other countries, either that might be business visas or visit visas, what kind of a visas, if you want to record that, this will be useful, guys. So here, which countries visas he has, what is the document type, document title, the document number, these are nothing but the work permit number, visa number kind of. So the date of issue, issuing authority, issue place, expiry date, the expiration date of that work visa or something, all that can be captured here along with a scanned copy of that work visa copies. So this is a work permit portlet where you can capture a lot of details in such manner. Okay, this is the thing. And then so till here the job information part, the third one, which is a very important area, will be here, will be seen here. After the personal information, this is a job information. But clearly if you observe, job information is a category in which you have org information, job information as main portlet, all this. You have employment details, all these things. So all these informations will be generally called as the job information, guys. Either you are speaking about the org information part, that is the employee, division, department, anything. Employee job information details, like his reporting manager, his job is permanent or contract, his pay grade, all these stuff you are discussing, or employee time information, all these belong to the job information itself. We generalized to call them as job information. So though you have a specific portlet as job information, this entire category of areas we call them as job information only, the category also. Okay,
Suresh, I have a question.
please.
I mean, we are looking over here for immediate supervisor or HR manager. So are these also the foundation objects, or these are the custom objects?
Which one now? Can you repeat which field you are referring exactly?
Supervisor and HR manager, the relationship part we had seen below.
What is, okay, I think I have to correct you again. Foundation object means it's something relevant to the organizational layers related to establish the company's structure, company's departments, company's locations, company's pay grades, what they use, all that. This is not, this is the relationship. Assigning a manager is a employee to employee relationship. This is not foundation object. Supervisor is one more employee whom you are tagging to this person as a reporting person. Similarly, HR, it's one more employee whom you are tagging as a HR person. That's it. It's not foundation object. These things are foundation. Company, business unit, division, department, locations, cost centers, jobs. Okay, these
So
things
like
are foundation.
we have relationship into SAP. We have A002, A012, all those relationships. Similar sort of
We
thing
don't
do
have.
we have into success?
We don't have
So
it. Success
these
factors
are to be
level, you don't
created into
have.
the system.
One second, we don't have it is the first answer. In success factors, don't compare it with 100% with SAP HCM. It's direct employee to employee tagging. You don't have it at A001, A00, A012, B012. All these relationships are not there. One thing is direct employee level 1-to-1, you can tag it the manager HR, and position structure level also will tag it. Which position is reporting to which position? It's only a parent-child relationship. Manager position reports to senior manager position. Senior manager position reports to associate director to director, like that hierarchy of positions we maintain. And here at an employee level, direct tagging of employee to manager, employee to HR, this happens. Again, a specific relationships, maintenance and all, we don't have that much complexity here in success factors. It's simple, straightforward. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shilpa, I have one more question.
Yeah, please.
Under job information, you have portlets like target position, organization information, job information, and all. So
Yeah.
for each customer, these portlets are compulsory for us to display, or we can hide it.
Each portlet. Okay, that's a very good question. That's very much important. At the hiring level, RBP permissions, role-based permissions will not work, guys. Okay, even if you had a permission that this set of fields should not be seen, these fields should be editable, non-editable, any permissions, will not be impacted at the hiring level. Hiring level, everything will come up. If you want to control any fields that should not appear in the hiring level, through business rules we are required to control. For the already hired employee, your permissions will be impacting. Already hired employee, in the employee profile level, if you are looking at the employee data, whatever permissions, RBP permissions you do, this should appear, this should not appear, and all you can control. But in hiring level, by default, every field of that portlet, whatever has been defined in the succession data model business configuration level, everything will appear. If I want to hide specifically some fields should not to come in the hiring level, I am required to write some business rules. Okay. Is that clear?
Fine, yeah, thank you. Yeah, clear. Thank you.
Yeah. And one more thing, here in the hiring level, say example, job information is a portlet. In this, if I had any custom fields, that custom fields will also come. But if I want to add a custom portlet altogether, okay, so custom portlets can be created in SuccessFactors. Apart from the standard SuccessFactors delivered portlets, I can create some custom portlets to store some additional information, customer specific information. I can create some new areas, like in SAP HCM, we create custom info types, 9000 series we created. Similar way, custom portlets can be created here, but that cannot be maintained in the employee hiring level. So in this hiring process, you cannot bring the custom portlets. Standard portlets can only be seen during the employee hiring process. Anything custom portlets should be filled in only after you are done with the hiring, employee got generated in the system, then you can go to his profile and do the rest of the parts to be maintained. Any other informations to be maintained in the custom portlets. Custom fields in the standard portlets will appear, but a custom portlet will not appear in the hiring process. Clear?
Clear. Thank you.
Yeah. That is the
Suresh, in
way.
hiring action, we have multiple info types which come up, like previous employment, professional tax, all those. So over here, can we add more fields?
That's what
I mean,
fields
more
can be added.
portlets.
Portlets cannot be added. That's what I'm saying. Just now I told you. Fields can be added, but not the portlets. Whatever are coming in the hiring level by standard SuccessFactors predefined, that is the only thing. You cannot customize this hiring sequence. Bringing, removing the existing things and all cannot be done. Custom portlets in the, custom fields in the existing portlets, whatever you add will come and appear. But a new portlet created, you can't bring it into the hiring process. Okay. And now if we continue, that goes into the fourth category, that is the final one, compensation information, guys, where you can maintain the employee's salary details. So this is the compensation part. So in compensation part, here we can actually group the employees in the pay terms. We can have some grouping that can be done. So the employee payments can be done in a different manners, guys. So monthly paid employees, weekly paid employees, bi-weekly paid employees, they can have different groups actually. Okay, so within monthly also they can have top management related one group, mid-level management related one more group. They can divide while running the payrolls. If they want to run the employees on a group wise, they can even run the payroll on a group wise. That is a pay group, where in SAP HCM we have it as a payroll area. So payroll area, here we call it as pay group in SuccessFactors. So that things can be created here and that can be integrated accordingly. So now when I'm hiring an employee in India specific, so India related monthly employees, monthly paid is only one group we have, I can hire against that. Okay. And next is the employee eligible for any company benefits, is employee eligible for a company car, such kind of some fields can be added here. Okay. And then actual pay components, while you are maintaining the employee salary details, here you are required to add one by one. The minimum regularly paid in the every month, in the every monthly salary, whatever we pay as per the offer letter, what all we regularly pay in the monthly salary should be added in this compensation section, like the basic pay, HRA, conveyance allowance, whatever allowances that you see in your every monthly pay slip, those components will be added here one by one. So basic salary, HRA, I'll just add a couple of them like this. And if you want to add some something, currencies, you have all the currencies, you can maintain them. And the frequency, this amount that you have entered is for a month, or this is for a week or a monthly, bi-weekly, like that you have different frequencies, guys. We can choose among them. SF standard has given different frequencies. Monthly. So covering the global customer requirements, the different frequencies are given here. So whichever we would require, we can just select them. So this way we have these things. And then apart from the regular pay components, anything additional, that is recurring payments and recurring deductions, that is for a limited period of time. If you want to have any payments done for the employee or deductions done from the employee salary, that can be recorded here. Say example, you decided to give the employee joining bonus of 60,000, but you're not going to give it in one shot. You're going to give it in first 3 months, 20,000. So you can maintain that here as a recurring payment. So for 3 months that can be paid. One-time payments, you want to make the joining bonus as one time, just maintain this month date. So any date of this month you enter, in this month's salary it will be paid, one-time payment as a one-time joining bonus. Like this we have these areas. And one last thing that will be coming up is the payment information, which is basically the bank account details. So when you're just clicking on add payment information here, you will be able to maintain the bank account details of the employee. The main payment method is what we choose, and whether that employee has to be paid through cash or check or bank transfer, like the different payment modes what the customer will be supporting, that can be added here. In this there are only check and bank transfer. If a company wants to have wallet based payments, the company wants to make cash based payments, they can add that, guys. In Middle East companies there will be something called pay cards. Pay card, initially when the company is not when the employee is not ready with the bank account number got created, pay card is something that will be initially given. So like that, pay cards, different payment methods, country wise we can configure them. Now once you choose bank transfer example, now few more fields will be expanded automatically when you choose bank transfer, which will ask for the bank name. So which bank? There is something ICICI Bank, some bank. So in that bank, so what is the bank, like we have the IFSC codes for the banks and all. Here's the routing number, the account number of the individual, all that can be filled in. Where routing number is something already when we create this main master bank account in the system, for that bank whatever is the routing number we already maintain it, system will auto populate it. The employee specific account number you can maintain, and then you can save it. So finally you click on this continue here, or on the right hand bottom corner you click on submit here. It's all the same. The employee will be hired with all this information of data whatever you filled in across all the 4 categories. It almost took 50 minutes for us, 50 minutes, the entire session we have been looking at this, but in real time it doesn't take this much time, because we have been specifically speaking about each and every category of information, their purpose, how to fill in all that. That's why it took this time. In real time, normally the HRs, when they are hiring an employee, within 10 minutes they'll hire one employee, and if they keep skipping many of the areas, within 5 minutes also they actually hire the employee. If they skip the unwanted areas, only main HR what HR should fill, what they concentrate, and they hire the employee quickly. Other things, address details, contact details, all that, they'll ask the employee to directly fill in also in some companies. Okay, but before this, before I click on submit, I want to show you also something called save draft. So in this huge process of hiring this much time, say example it is taking 10-15 minutes to hire an employee, in between if you are required to step out, so in SAP HCM days we have no choice. In between, if you are stopping the hiring process, whatever you entered till now, the data is lost. But in SuccessFactors you have this draft functionality. You can keep till what extent you already filled in the data, that as draft, without hiring the employee. Later on you can come back and continue your hiring process. Now I kept this guy as draft, where place where we can find them, find the draft records is, we have something called as pending hires, manage pending hires. So in this manage pending hires, all the draft records will be visible, guys. So here on the right hand top, drafts is a category that we are required to choose. So this is an action that is applicable for recruitment module, onboarding module, different things. So simple drafts is what that belongs to employee central. Now that record test employee test user what I just kept, that will come up here. There are 7 draft record system is showing. It's taking too long. Anyways, in the meanwhile, any questions, guys?
Yeah, Suresh, can you hear me?
Yeah, Paul, please go ahead.
Okay, Suresh, I have one question. You showed us like we can enter the payment details, bank details, etc. Aren't these
Yes.
details something that the employee themselves enters? Usually nowadays this data is directly entered by the employee.
Salary detail employee enters.
No, not the salary detail, the bank details.
That's what I'm saying. All these things are both available at a HR at the hiring level, but every portlet is also editable. If you give the permissions, employee can also maintain. Depends upon the company's policy whether they want to give the edit functionality to the employee or not. So if you want to skip it, skip that bank information. You have a delete icon against bank details portlet also. Delete it, just skip it and hire him. Afterwards, ask the employee to directly maintain him. Whenever employee maintains, we can have a workflow configured for that. It goes to the finance head or HR head, someone. They check whether employee has filled in everything in detail properly, and then they approve only. It will save in the database. We can give the workflow process for that. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So now in this manage pending hires, select that record which we just kept as draft, guys. And I clicked on the test user record, system opened up the entire area of information, whatever I filled in. Right from the first step, it will again bring up here on the screen. If you want to make any corrections, if you want to review anything, you can do it. And again, you just have to keep clicking on continue one by one. You can go through all the screens, all the screen areas. You can keep checking and continuing here. And finally, you can come to the 4th area and click on submit. So that is the 4th area. So Parul, for your question, this payment information is the section. Payment information, this is the bank account details. This is where I can delete this. I don't want to maintain here, delete now and ask the employee to fill in. Okay. If I click on submit, is where with all this information, employee will be hidden in the system and an employee number will be generated, guys.
Suresh, I missed the starting of this today. Is the employee number generated internally or externally?
We can have it both. That's what I've actually showed you. So initially it will be as a blank editable field. If you want to make that field entry any number you want to enter it directly, you enter it. If you skip it, system will also auto generate it. But we don't have this concept of internal number ranges, external number ranges, all that stuff here in SuccessFactors. We have to follow only one thing. Either customer has to say we will manually maintain it, complete manual. If they want the system to auto generate it, completely auto generation. We don't have both the things supported here in SuccessFactors, either of the things. Okay.
But Suresh, for existing employees, they have employee ID coming from their old system. Yeah.
Yeah.
And sorry.
Whatever is their old system database, whatever we have, we all migrated it once. Once they start hiring in the SuccessFactors is where we follow one proper sequence. Now going further, that's the organizational change management companies will undergo through when they are implementing new softwares like this.
So you mean to say whatever is the last number generated in the old system, from there you will pick up and get it generated in a SuccessFactor?
Obviously. So we do all the existing existing data uploads, migration to the SuccessFactors system. So the last number, say example, last number is 1015. The next number in SuccessFactors that has to be generated is 1016. So that is what I keep as the starting number and configure the system so that new hiring will take 1016, 1017 one by one later.
Okay. Acha, coming to this compensation, there is a frequency of monthly, bi-weekly and all. But what about Provident Fund or gratuity, what we pay in India? How is that configured?
Here itself, if you want to maintain those info types, those pay components, I can also maintain one more pay component as PPF, Public Provident Fund or Provident Fund, whatever I have to maintain. It's that 18% of the basic salary, whatever you have that policies. As per that, we can have it. So here we can even have business rules to auto-populate the pay components. Here I manually maintain this basic salary, HRA, all this. If a customer wants to have them auto-populated, we have a proper thing. We just enter the total package of the employee here. I entered it as 10 lakhs. For the 10 lakhs, what should be the monthly basic? What should be the HRA, PF, allowance? If you want me to give the breakup using business rules, we can even give the breakup accordingly.
Okay.
Suresh, in SAP, we have pay scale, groups, and levels on the basis of which we can auto-populate all the components. So do we have that also?
Yeah, in the job information, these fields are there. You enter it, and you come to the compensation section. Based on these things, I can write the business rules in the background to auto-populate the salary structure. Pay scale, type, area, group.
Okay.
Okay. So end of the day, SuccessFactors is a HR system to maintain all the employee data, guys. These are what SF standard given. In SAP HCM, you guys are every time referring to the SAP HCM payroll solution only. You have to change your mindset now. Do not think that SAP HCM is the only payroll solution available in the market. Customer going for SuccessFactors, he has all the right to go for any payroll solution. In SAP HCM, you have pay scale, type, area, group level. In other payroll solutions, okay, it might be any other third-party payroll solutions in the market. They might not have this terminology at all. They might have some other things in which they group the people. Okay, so end of the day, matching any customer requirement, we can enhance these fields. It is a place where I record everything relevant to the employee. This is the employee centralizer module. Now, what fields you want against an employee level? You want a pay scale, type, area, group level, or you want XYZ fields? Whatever fields you tell me, I'll configure. Tomorrow, all this data, what you maintain here, will be integrated with the payroll system. That payroll system can be SAP HCM payroll, or it can be other third-party payroll, ADP payroll, any other payrolls, whatever in the market. I'll integrate this data. There, the payroll processing will happen. Finally, the payroll target system where the data reaches. Further, what all data I have to capture here in a HR system, the customer has to provide me all the details, and I'll maintain them. As per standard SF, they have already given these fields respecting to SAP HCM. So pay scale, type, area, group level, you have employee group and subgroup is employee class and employment type. The way we have employee group and subgroup in SAP HCM, here we call them as employee class and employment type. And then that payroll area is what we call it as pay group. Okay, matching SAP HCM, SF has given everything. Beyond this, anything also we can definitely do it. So in our regular projects, if I do 10 projects in EC, minimum 5 projects, 50% of the projects will be other payroll. It need not be SAP HCM payroll. So if that customer specific, what all fields we are required to configure, we will add those fields and configure the system. Clear, guys? I'm just facing some issue, guys. When I'm submitting, system is throwing some error. I just have to check it. It's not saving. A component value cannot be empty. Where is it empty? It's entered. It's entered. Not sure, guys. So 5 more fields. There are no mandatory fields. Not sure. I'll just check that. It's just when we click on submit, it's just an employee profile will be created with all this information and employee number will be generated. Okay. So these are all the 4 categories of information that we're filling in the employee central hiring process. Any questions? Fine, guys. So this is for now. And in the next session, we'll be looking towards the concept of org structure setup. So now as per the EC structure, I just directly showed you the employee hiring. But if you are required to hire an employee, as I told you, we need to have the complete org structure of the company. The list of company locations, company departments, company's positions. Today in the job information level, what all we selected. When I selected the position, system auto-populated it. But you need to have those details, list of departments, list of locations, list of positions in the company, all that master data. That is where the foundations has to be set up. in the part of foundation data, first thing is the org structure has to be set up. That 3-layered org structure, this is the one that has to be set up. Matching your company, your organizations, I mean, your customers' business, we are required to set this up. So what are their terminologies? As per that, we are required to set up this. So using the standard 4 layers, if the customer's business is also fitting into the standard 4 layers, that is one way. If customer is expecting to have some additional layers, sub business units, subdivisions, sub departments, kind of additional layers, so how to customize the structure and configure that? Both the things. So we will require minimum 2 sessions to discuss on the org structure. With standard layers 1 session, with the adding custom layers 1 more session. So that will be the org structure, the first configuration we'll be looking at. Okay. Any others, guys? Queries?
Suresh, I have a question from previous sessions.
Yeah, please.
Where we saw this welcome announcement for the new joinees. So can we use that feature? Can we use that feature for general announcement for the company, because there you can make some groups and all, right?
Exactly. So that is how we actually do it in the real time. So send welcome mail is where whatever text you maintain there, it goes. By default, SF gives you this welcome message text. If you cut this, you remove this and type whatever you want, with that text, system sends you the complete system message. That's why they don't call it as welcome message. They here call it as send system message. Whatever you give as a subject and body, whatever you want to communicate to all the employees, this is a tool that will be useful. If you want to have some email comment system, some communication to be sent out of the SuccessFactors system instead of Outlook emails and all. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and secondly, like this XML file thing, visibility none and pi true, they both are same, right? I mean, there won't be any visibility. I mean, there won't be, the field won't be there, correct? Or the data won't be there.
No,
visibility none and pi true.
Pi true is only masking the data. Field is visible on the screen. Okay. Pi is only masking the data. Okay. Asterisk symbols are coming.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine, guys. And Kavita, I guess. Kavita, yeah, Kavita. If you have any queries, please reach out to me, and you can write to me.
Sure.
Joining us. Okay.
Joining us. Sure. Okay. Yeah.
Great, Kavita. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, one and all. Let's again connect back same time tomorrow. Have a nice evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
You too. Thank you.